Welcome to the process. It is Thursday, January 6th. I'm Josh Engleman, and I'm here to break down an easy one. Just 4 games today. We don't have to go for an hour and 45 minutes or anything crazy. We can just hang out, be here quick, get through our rotations, move forward. We're on to the next one. Oh, I just saw SMP say the exact same thing. If you have not yet done so, and I know that there's a slow trickle of people coming in right now, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. And then follow me on Twitter, at Josh Engleman. It's nice to see everybody out here this morning. Nothing interesting for me last night. Played on DraftKings, actually, for the first time this season. Got to 68th in the big contest. I was sitting in 8th for a while, up until about halftime of the late games. I didn't have any bullets left in that one. It ended up getting passed. Oh well, what are you going to do? On to the next one, I guess. Kyle Lowry got the gate yesterday. That was interesting to see. Larry, good morning. Cliff, good morning. We got a pretty easy one here today. I'm ready to just dive into it. I'm a little tired. I stayed up late, a little bit later than I should have. I didn't get to bed till after midnight, which is, if you are a watcher of this show, you know that is relatively rare. So I am running on empty today, but that's fine. That's fine. It'll be all right. We'll get the rest a little bit later. I got plenty of time today. Thursdays are easy. So let's do this. Rise and grind, everybody. You know the deal there. I've got my coffee. Obviously, this is going to be very, very important for me. I need this coffee more than anything today. So I hope you've got some coffee as well. Maybe I could use the caffeine from your coffee as good vibes for me. Who knows? Coffee, tea, water, beer, whatever you got. It's cheers to you guys. Rise and grind. Let's win money today. I've got a good feeling about this Thursday slate. That's so good. So good. Alrighty. Full screen. Nope, we're already on that. Process. Transition. Unmute. Music on. PrizePicks. Guys, you know it. They are the presenting sponsor of this video. Go to awesemo.com/prizepicks-promo. You can get a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, $100 deposit bonus. We've got free PrizePicks player prop tools on the website that can help you make your lineups. And by lineups, I mean basically parlay cards. You're looking to hit over-unders. You're looking to basically win a 5-person parlay to net up to 10x your entry fee. They've got apps in the App Store, Google Play. Go to prizepicks.com. All that stuff works. But go to awesemo.com/prizepicks-promo. That is where you can get all of the details. Theodore, how did dinner for the wife go? She ended up actually going out to eat with a friend of hers, and then they came back to the house. So I actually didn't cook yesterday. I'm going to cook today instead. But I am going to play the slate since 4 games is a little bit easier to manage. And lock is at 7:30. So, alrighty. Well, let's dive into this. First one up on the list, that would be the Boston Celtics taking on the New York Knicks. So, a little bit of a rivalry matchup. This will be fun. Let's move move these windows around here. And let's talk some Boston. So Boston did play yesterday. They are on the back-to-back. They went to a 9-man rotation. Romeo Langford played about 7 minutes. That's exactly what I had him in for yesterday. So I'm feeling pretty good about everything that I have in here from a playing time perspective. But we at least have to look at it. I gave Robert Williams 28 minutes. He played 32. He has averaged 32 over the past chunk of games. If we talk about just the games that he's played while Horford was on the floor, he's averaged 29 minutes. I got to give him at least one more minute, especially on a day like today. I feel like I should probably go to 30, if I'm being perfectly honest. Scares me a little bit, though. It just does, but he's been playing more, so maybe it shouldn't. Josh Richardson played 20 minutes. That's a spot where I can grab an additional minute and give it to Jason Tatum. I've now got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in for 35 minutes. I've got Marcus Smart in for 34. I've got Al Horford in for 30. He played a little bit less than that, but everybody else's minutes seem about right. Doug, I do not know if I'm playing golf yet. We'll see after this show. If there's anything that I still want to register for, I might get in. I might not have enough time. I need to start planning for it. I might just throw like a single entry lineup in and call it a day. Yeah, Philip, nothing good for me yesterday, but I appreciate the kind words. So this Boston rotation looks fine, and they played yesterday, so we know that the rates are fine too. So I don't really have anything else that I want to add for the Boston Celtics. When we go to the New York Knicks, I assume they've got like a bunch of nonsense going on. So, ooh, I got to check something actually. Whoopsie daisy. Give me 1 second, guys. Got to fix a couple things. All right, there we go. Now we're good. All right. What do we got for the Knicks? What has changed in their rotations? So, still no Kemba. Nerlens Noel questionable. Daniel House questionable. That's not true. He's on the Utah Jazz now. Wayne Selden's been released. Lukas Samanic is in the G League. All right, so the Knicks are just fully healthy outside of Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose. I just want to make sure that I get the correct starting lineup from last time. Burks, Barrett, Fournier, Gibson, Randall. I assume the starting lineup here is going to be Burks, Gibson, Fournier, Randall, and Mitchell Robinson. But maybe we shouldn't think that. Maybe they want to go back to Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench and that the prep is just so that Nerlens Noel gets back into the starting lineup. Because Noel was starting up until the 21st. On the 23rd, he didn't start because that was his first game with COVID. I think Nerlens Noel is going to start today's game and Mitchell Robinson is going to come off the bench. That is my expectation for today. Nerlens Noel was the starter. They wanted to do that. They had to change it because Noel went out. Now that Noel is questionable for like the third straight day and coming back, I'm going to put him in for right now. I don't think it matters. What you're doing is taking 48 minutes, splitting them between Mitchell Robinson, Nerlens Noel, and Taj Gibson in some way. And if everybody's in, Taj doesn't play, the starter, in theory, could get an extra minute or two. I don't know if that happens with Noel on a day like today. 24-24 feels like the right split. Now, Julius Randle came back after 2 days off, immediately played 38 minutes. Clearly, we're going straight back to 36 for Julius Randle, which means we don't really have all that many minutes for Obi Toppin. Sorry, Obi. Evan Fournier continues to play pretty limited minutes. If we look at his NBA rotations page, Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? What team am I looking for? The Knicks. That's how tired I am. God, I feel like an idiot. All right, here's Fournier. Doesn't close, doesn't close, doesn't close. 3 straight games. These are all 3 straight games. 1 without Kemba Walker, 2 clearly without Derrick Rose. 2 of them didn't have Randall, and he still didn't close. So now this was coming off of a stretch where he did pretty regularly close. I think for right now, we have a really hard time assuming Evan Fournier is going to close. So I'm going to give him 26 minutes. Because technically, over these past 3 games, he's averaged about 23 minutes. I think 26 minutes can happen. If he falls into a couple extra closing minutes, we don't know. But for right now, I think that's a place where we need to take some minutes. Miles McBride played 3 minutes. I'm going to take his minutes away. I'm going to take Grimes' minutes away. Emmanuel Quickly, I think, is also in the 26-minute bucket. So we need to firm up what we're doing with Alec Burks. And we saw Burks start and play 36 minutes his last time out. Just pretty much standard issue starter run. He does close more often. If he's starting, he's closing and playing monster minutes. I am assuming that he is starting, so I am giving him monster minutes. I don't really see a reason why I wouldn't want to do that. If we go back to the 23rd, that was the last time that he started, which would be right here. That was all more 36 type minutes. So I'm giving Alec Burks 35 minutes. Yeah, probably didn't work out to not play Sabonis yesterday. Quickly, I'm going to maintain at 26 minutes. I think his rotations are the ones that can easily be the weirdest because he does generally close, but then comes off the bench. So it's sort of like Fournier and Quickly are like inverses of each other with a little bit of overlap, which means that we have 25 minutes left over for insert random people here. It appears to be Quentin Grimes. So let's actually go like this. How tall is Quentin Grimes? Quentin Grimes is 6'4". So we're going to go like that for Barrett. We're going to give Quentin Grimes 20 minutes. Now, that leaves me 5 additional minutes. RJ Barrett has played 36 plus in 2 of his last 3. I think that's important to note. That's just big run. Now, I don't know if he's going to play that much every time, but I am going to give him at least 1 additional minute. That leaves me 4, which I can then throw to Miles McBride. I know that probably took a little bit longer than we would want it to for a Knicks rotation. I'm okay with it. I'm happy with the rates that I have in right now. So let's take a look at both teams. So first up on the list, Boston, which we already know. And just right out of the gate, there are no priorities on Boston. The best plays are probably like Jason Tatum and maybe Al Horford on FanDuel. You will get to Boston, like they are going to show up in lineups. None of these guys can be considered an individual priority, and we'll see that bear out towards the end, I assume. For the Knicks, very different scenario. I think Alec Burks is exceptional at 6K on FanDuel and 5,900 on DraftKings. 5,900 on DraftKings, shooting guard, small forward. Assuming Alec Burks is continuing to start, he's one of the best plays of the day. Or like, he's just going to be very, very high. He's certainly going to be in the top 10. RJ Barrett, I think, looks good across both sites. Just small forward on DraftKings, which will slow him down a little bit. And then I think Quickly is worth a wild card at 4K. I mean, 26 minutes is sort of like his ceiling, so maybe that's sort of the problem, but I like Burks, Barrett, and Quickly on DraftKings. I think Julius Randle is basically the same as Tatum and Brown. They're just like, you're going to rotate through those guys. But that's where we stand on the Knicks for right now. Game number 1, the 7:30 start, is not very appealing. So let's go to Detroit now. The Pistons are 12.5-point dogs in Memphis, 219 total. For Detroit, we know that Corey Joseph came off of the COVID list, as did Isaiah Stewart. I have no idea if these guys are going to be playing today. I'm going to leave them out since they are on a back-to-back. I'm just going to have to leave these guys out until we find out differently. Because I don't know how you get into better shape if you're on the back-to-back. So I'm going to treat Detroit like they're the exact same rotation they got yesterday. Detroit got handled by Charlotte. Handled. Because stupid Kelly Oubre went for 20. He was 8 for 9 from 3 in 8 minutes. That'll be interesting. Time Lord if Al is out. Any reason we would be suspecting Al Horford to be out? Did he get dinged up yesterday? I don't know. Let's look at Detroit. And most importantly, let's just look at the rotation they were trying to put together. So Bay, Hayes, Lyles, Cade, Hamidou Diallo. Normal rotations, first and second half. Do I have Micah Potter on this team? I do. Don't have him in my model. Guess I need to do that. Although I can easily give 16 minutes to somebody that doesn't matter. Luka Garza was fully out of the rotation yesterday. So I assume Micah Potter is a big guy. And that I need to actually fix this. Yep. Alrighty. Let's actually fix this then. Well, actually, it might not matter if Isaiah Stewart plays. Yeah, I was going to say, I know Horford's played his last back-to-back, so. Oh, yeah, Kickstart. I had Bridges in a really, really highly ranked lineup. And Charlotte scored 140 points, and it still didn't matter. That one was brutal, especially after the discussion I had with Adam yesterday about him. I should really add this Micah Potter dude. Might as well. Might as well. We got time. It's a 4-gamer. Let's get Micah Potter locked and loaded here. What's your birthday? April 6th, 1998. There we go. Yeah, I was Kickstart. I was sitting in 7th or 8th for a while. So when I pulled it open, I was very not happy. It bothered me considerably. Yeah, David, I was on DK yesterday. When FanDuel runs the 50 or the $15 150 max, I'm going to start playing on DraftKings instead because I think the payout structure is better. All right, there's Micah Potter. Oh, I had like 65% Middleton and like 50 of Drew Holiday. No, Jay, no profit. It's really hard to make profit unless you're in the top 10, at least for me. What was I doing? Oh, yeah, updating for Micah Potter. Got it. Done. All right, Micah Potter's in now. That makes things a little bit easier. Yeah, I mean, it was a good lineup. It was just, it needed a little bit more from Bridges. It faded, though, too. Yeah, I had Nawara in a bunch. I had a lot of the Bucks. That was my highest exposed team. Actually, do I still have this up? I assume I have refreshed that table at this point. No, I haven't. All right, this is my exposure before late swapping. 66% Middleton, 54% Nas Little, which came down, although it was, to me, it's still a good play. I don't know what FanDuel salary is showing here, but it's not FanDuel salary. I had a ton of Drew. Sykes in Washington weren't ideal. Christian Wood smashed, which was nice. Simon smashed, which was nice. Portis was not ideal because of Cousins, obviously. Hero ended up being a problem. I got to more of him in the late swap. I got to Gallo in the late swap, which was kind of a problem. Clearly needed to get to Bojan Bogdanovic. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's finish off this Detroit team. So we're going to take Luka Garza's 18 minutes away and give those to Michael Potter. Because I'm not going to treat Isaiah Stewart like he's playing today. That seems non-ideal. But we do want to talk about Michael Potter just being the backup center here. He played every minute. The Trey Lyles didn't. And then didn't close in the blowout. That's when they went to Luka Garza. So Luka Garza is just pretty clearly not in the rotation. Ryan, just multi-entry stuff. All right, so Justin Robinson, like, they didn't do anything weird. It was just Justin Robinson, Josh Jackson, Saban Lee, Rodney Magruder. They were the backups. Easy. Diallo picked up 2 fouls, so he lost an extra 2.5 minutes. But what we should really expect, and the most important piece is here, I don't really think that anybody in this list would like immediately dive into a closing lineup. So I think that Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes, Trey Lyles, Cade Cunningham, Hamidou Diallo all play, 20, 31 minutes in a competitive game, 32 minutes in a competitive game, depending on who it is. Like, I think you project Cade slightly higher, you project a Killian Hayes slightly lower, but I'm going to treat it like the guys that were starters. Hayes, Cade, Bey, Lyles, and Diallo. I'm going to treat those guys like they're getting a lot of minutes today. So Diallo in for 33, cool. I think I have to project Killian Hayes more aggressively than I did because I have to. I mean, the problem is they might get blown out. So I do have to be aware of that. But I think I have to be projecting Killian Hayes for 30 minutes and Saban Lee for 18. And then, we've got Trey Lyles in for 30. I think that's fine. 18 for Micah Potter. Bey for 36. Diallo for 33. Cade for 34. Like, those are the 5 guys that should be playing that kind of rotation if it's close. We just have to redistribute these minutes a little bit. Micah Potters can stay because he played, that amount of run, basically. I guess in theory, I want to go 31-17 there. And then I just have I got to just split the rest of these minutes to Magruder, to Justin Robinson, and to Josh Jackson. Done. That's Detroit's rotation. I think we're going to be playing a lot of Killian Hayes today, which sucks. To Memphis. But if this game stays competitive, why isn't Killian Hayes is playing 30 minutes? I didn't even look to see how many minutes all the big men played for Utah last night. I want to know if I guessed that correctly. Pascal played 14. Azubuike played 15. Who's the last guy? Oh, yeah, and then Rudy Gay played 30. Okay, so that worked out perfectly. That rotation went exactly like I thought it would, except for Bojan playing a shit ton. All right, let's look at Memphis, who I assume are, getting everybody back, right? Dylan Brooks, Q-tag, Melton, Q-tag, Anderson, and Bain, both doubtful. Okay. So I'm going to assume that Melton and Brooks are back, that Anderson and Bane are out, which means that we got to just start this one basically over. So let's take out everything here and here. So we got Ja Morant in for 34 minutes. That seems right. Tyus Jones in for 14. Potentially some backup run. We'll cross that bridge. We get Adams in for 28. Feels about right. Against Detroit, it's probably a little bit less necessary, but I think 28 feels about right. When was Memphis' last game? The 2nd. Wow. They have not played for a very long time. Did I read that incorrectly? That's not Memphis. The 4th, because I don't understand numbers. All right, Memphis played here. When Adams came off, Brandon Clark came on, straight back up, but then came back on when... I don't know. I don't actually know why Brandon Clark came back in on the end of the second quarter run for Jaren Jackson. I guess Jaren Jackson has just been out there for a very long time. And they were on a bit of a run. Here, Brandon Clark was on the floor, but certainly overlapped even more. So we're really just splitting a lot of this time between Jackson, Adams, and Brandon Clark at the 5. So I'm going to say that Brandon Clark plays 14 minutes at the 5. Jaren Jackson plays 6. And then we also assume that Jaren Jackson plays 30 minutes. And that we also assume that Brandon Clark plays 24 minutes. Next, Aldama was back. First guy off the bench, came on for Jaren Jackson. Was basically his straight backup in the first half. And then started playing weirder rotations in the second half. Don't know how healthy he is, but we're going to give Aldama the other 14 minutes at the 4. That leaves us 96 minutes across the 1 and the 2. Some of that will go to Tyus Jones as a just simple playing alongside of Ja Morant thing. Let's say, here they played 58 minutes, so that's 10 extra. Here it was 52, so that's 4. Here is 60, so that's 12. Let's call it 6, maybe 8. Take him to 22. I think that's reasonable. Dillon Brooks has been out for a very long time. He has missed 6 games. I have no idea how many minutes Dillon Brooks is going to play, so I'm going to give him 32 for now. Your mileage may vary on Dillon Brooks. I don't have a great feel for it. That's what I think that we need to do. We've also had DeAnthony Melton out for the exact same amount of time. Now, no Bane is interesting. I don't have a great feel for who starts here. Unless we just say that Brooks steps right into Bane's spot and they go Morant, Brooks, Tilly, Adams. Well, Morant, Brooks, Tilly, Jackson, Adams. Because Tilly got his pretty much normal rotation and then didn't close, which doesn't truly surprise me. So let's give Tilly 16 minutes. Actually, let's give Tilly 20 minutes. Then we still need DeAnthony Melton. I'm just going to say 24 for right now. And then a final 12 going to someone random, right? Zaire Williams? Got it. That's where we're at for right now. 10-man rotation for Memphis. We do have to change rates because Dillon Brooks is back, allegedly. We know that makes a difference. 130 viewers in here, 54 likes. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. All right. So let's actually look at this here. Ja Morant with Dillon Brooks this season has a 28.5% usage rate in 8 games, which is a little interesting. Dillon Brooks, on the other hand, has a what with Ja Morant? In those 8 games, he's got a 29.9% usage rate. I'm going to say that these two guys get the same usage rate, which is scary. The rest of these guys are probably going to hash themselves out. Actually, what is Jaren Jackson doing in games with Dillon Brooks this year? 25.5% usage rate in 18 games without Dillon Brooks. Now, some of that is going to be without Morant, but it seems like that's about what his rates are just in general. I am going to knock down Ja Morant's assist rate a little bit. And then I think that everybody else is largely going to stay where they are. I don't really want to change Brandon Clark, I should probably change Melton since he'll be more of a second unit guy. But I don't think we're going to get a lot of usage out of Tyus Jones because if we just look at what happens when Morant is on. Oh, clown, and that's brutal. Yeah, SMP. I don't know if Brooks and Melton just both immediately step back into a starting lineup role today after being out for so long. And Brooks just has that cachet. Wouldn't surprise me if they go to Melton. I think he makes a little bit more sense on the second unit for today, though. Yeah, I'm happy with all of these rates. So that's Memphis. So we got Detroit and Memphis down. That only took an hour. For the Pistons, Cade Cunningham is an exceptional play on FanDuel today at 6,800. And he's a good play on DraftKings at 7,900. Trey Lyles, great play, both sites. And then we got to have that conversation about Killian Hayes. I think that 30 minutes is the correct projection for Hayes, unless you wanted to tell me slightly more. At which point, he's 4K on FanDuel. He's 3,400 on DraftKings. And I think that's really, really good. I just do. We're talking 3,400. 5x plus 10 is 27 fantasy points. That is good. That is very good. This is not correct. Let me fix this here. There we go. Knew that looked weird. Look, Killian Hayes is a great look, he's not a good fantasy point per minute guy. His ownership will tell the main story. But I think he looks pretty good here. And that's projecting somebody with a 47% true shooting. Now, if we want to talk about other potential plays, I think Hamidou Diallo still works on FanDuel a little bit at 7,500. Sadiq Bey is a bit of a tough sell. He's a little too expensive. On the Memphis side, again, this is assuming Brooks and Melton are in. Ja for 9,200 on DK is going to be a priority pay-up option. He's $1,000 more expensive on FanDuel for reasons that I don't really understand. I think if we are anticipating Dillon Brooks to start and play 32 minutes, that he looks really, really good. Jaren Jackson, 6,600 on FanDuel power forward center, 6,100 on DraftKings power forward center. I think maybe I need to take a look at Jaren Jackson's rates, but if we're talking about a guy with a 25.5% usage rate, I mean, it's 21.8 when he's on the floor with Ja, so maybe we take that down to 24.5. But, I mean, this is a guy that's just 51% true shooting. I have it at 55. I think that matters. Maybe I'm projecting him for too many assists, but I really like Jaren Jackson tonight. All right, that's 2 games down. Let's keep it moving. We know where we're going now. Game number 3, 8 o'clock start. Golden State Warriors, New Orleans Pelicans. This one's going to be interesting. Not much that we can do yet. Curry probably not going to play today. I don't think that he's officially doubtful. But he did get dinged up at the end of yesterday's game. So we need to be aware of that. And no Steph would be... That would be real. I think that we should be assuming that he is out. But he's not going to be on an injury report for a while. I don't know if we should even assume that he's playing. Back-to-back. Called himself, not thinking he's not going to be playing them. It is the Pels. I can't just go by what Steph says. Like, he could just wake up and feel okay. It's hard for me to want to sit him on the road. We know that we don't have Clay yet. Otto Porter is in. Iggy is out. I don't really know how I want to handle Clay here, or Steph here. I'm leaving him in until we hear something different. At least until mid-afternoon injury reports. Which means that we just have to put Otto Porter back in for, I don't know, his like 26 minutes. If that's who we're assuming sort of gets that playing time. So if I give him 26, I assume I could take 10 from the bucket. Damian Lee can go down to 9 minutes. Gary Payton, I mean, in theory, could keep playing. Jordan Poole only played 24. Let's go 26. We'll go 26. Juan Toscano Anderson can go back down to 11. Actually, we'll go 13 and 15. 24 to Looney. Sounds right. Draymond at 34. Sure. I think we're okay with Golden State here. I'm not going to change anything else from a rates perspective. It's not... We have no idea what's going to happen here for Golden State. This can entirely change. Clown, and there's no such thing as he can't be doubtful yet. They're not on the injury report. He might be. I think it's more likely that he doesn't play, but it's not something that I'm going to put in right now because he's Steph. It's a lot easier to swap the opposite direction. No Satoransky for New Orleans. So this is just standard issue New Orleans Pelicans rotation. Joval played 35 minutes in a competitive game here. They played everybody big minutes here in this competitive one. So I actually think that is feasible. So I'm going to go to 34 minutes on Devontae Graham because this feels like it could be a competitive game. And I think that if it is, they're going to play more. BI is in at 34. I think that's fine. Joval I have in for 30. That's immediately becoming 32. 16 to Jackson Hayes. I got 32 in for Herbert Jones. I mean, that I'm making 34. Nickeil Alexander-Walker played 15 minutes. I don't know how frequently we think we see that. So it's going to be here for 14, Alvarado for 12, Garrett Temple for 14. Like, that's what happens if this game is competitive. No one plays all that much. We get 36 minutes out of Josh Hart. We get 34 minutes out of Devontae Graham and 34 minutes out of Herbert Jones. So I'm actually pretty happy with this in a non-happiness filled way. The Nickeil Alexander-Walker piece scares me because in theory, he should play more. But I don't know where those minutes come from. Unless they go to a 9-man rotation. That's really the only way. And, they could. They could take Gary Clark's minutes off of this team. Like, he's the one that's starting to lose them. What happens if we take those 6 minutes from Gary Clark, or 8 minutes from Gary Clark, and we get Nickeil Alexander-Walker up to 22? That makes more sense to me. Something like that. So I'm going to go with this rotation for the Pels for right now, because I think this game could actually be competitive now that they're at full strength. For Golden State, if Curry is in, I don't really like much of anything here. Draymond and Gary Payton would be the two guys, and even then, it's a little scurry. For the Pelicans, let's see. For the Pels, okay, Josh Hart is 6,400 on DraftKings and 7,600 on FanDuel. Josh Hart's a great play on DK. Brandon Ingram is solid enough across FanDuel and DraftKings. He's sort of in like the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown area. Herbert Jones is 4,500 on DraftKings, 6,700 on FanDuel. That's a gap of 10 points if he hits his ceiling. That's how much more, how much better it is on DK. If Herbert Jones hits his ceiling, which is about 40 fantasy points in 34 minutes, if he hits that ceiling, it's 10 points better relative to FanDuel on DraftKings. Joe Val for 7,900 looks really good. Devontae Graham for 5,900 on DraftKings looks good. The Pelicans as a whole look really solid, but it's Josh Hart and Herbert Jones on DK, and it's Joe Val on FanDuel. Let's close it out now. Clippers and Phoenix Suns. For the Clippers, no Paul George, no Zubats, no Kennard, no Kawhi, no Hartenstein, no Jason Preston. I'm going to assume that Nick Batum is playing. I like the rhyming there. Nick Batum has not played for the past 5 games. We're going to put him in for today, though. And I don't have a great feeling about what's going to happen here for this Clippers team at all. Their last game was Monday. They got smacked around by Minnesota pretty much the entire game. Bledsoe, Ibaka, Morris, Jackson, Mann started. They didn't do anything super weird with rotations other than going to Amir Coffey over Bledsoe to close the second quarter. At that point, most of this was just dead in the water. I assume that the guys that start are the guys that close, so we can think about it like that. Bledsoe in for 28 minutes. He played 21 in that blowout. I think that's fine. Serge Ibaka played 20 minutes. I think I probably need to give him 24 if we think this game is going to be competitive. I'm going to take all of the minutes out for the guys that I don't think are starting. So that's 24 for Ibaka. Marcus Morris played 24 minutes. I think 32 is where we want to be here for him. We've got Reggie Jackson in for 33, Terrence Mann in for 33. They both played a ton. Maybe we go to 32 on Reggie Jackson, 33 stays for Terrence Mann. And then let's give Batum just some standard issue 24-minute type stuff. Everybody else is a bench guy. Bledsoe's in, Jackson's in, Mann's in, Morris is in, Ibaka's in. So what we're just looking for now is the rest of the bench. And James Ennis and Jay Scrubb played just blowout run. Everybody else that played was actually in the rotation. Which means next guy up is Wenyen Gabriel. We're going to give him... Although... I mean, Wenyen Gabriel came onto the floor before Justice Winslow. So I'm going to take Wenyen Gabriel, pop him into the 4. We're going to say that Moon was the second guy on as well. So we're going to give Moon some backup run. He played once he got on in the third quarter through the rest of the game. So, we're talking about 3.5 minutes, 6 minutes. We're going to give him 12 minutes. 12 minutes to Moon. And then, actually... Yeah, that's fine. 9, 15. So that's Moon's minutes. We still have Keon Johnson and Amir Coffey as the next 2 guys. Keon Johnson was just going to play. He played the normal 16. Amir Coffey got that little bit of additional run from Eric Bledsoe, which is weird. We take, 8 minutes off of that. So we're talking like 20 for Coffee, maybe. Let's do 22 for Coffee and 17 for Keon Johnson. So that's your Clippers rotation. Rates don't need to change. Then we'll finish it off with Phoenix. I have no idea who's actually healthy for Phoenix, but I think they're getting their guys back. No Crowder, Ayton. They're not getting their guys back. All right. So Phoenix is Phoenix then. I don't totally remember what happened in their last game, but I know they played on Tuesday. So, all right, they blew out New Orleans. Let's take a look at this. Jalen Smith, 2 fouls. Picked up his 3rd. Picked up his 4th. And then didn't close. They closed with Biyombo, who was just playing really well. I don't think that there's any reason that we should assume that Biyombo is just going to be exceptional. Everybody else on this team, we know what they're doing. So the question really becomes how many minutes do we project Biyombo for? Should we assume that Biyombo closes? That doesn't seem reasonable to me. Not that it has to be Jalen Smith, but I don't think that we should assume that Bismack Biyombo closes, particularly against the Clippers, who he doesn't have to close against. Doesn't have to. So I am going to take Jalen Smith down to 26 because he legitimately doesn't have to close. That's the key piece here. So does 18 feel right for Biyombo? If we just cut him the same time that Cam Johnson came on, 6 minutes, that takes Biyombo down to 23. If we say that goes to Jalen Smith, that takes him to 22. We say he lost. Like, he definitely lost this last run, this 3 minutes here. So that would take Biyombo to 20. So I think I'm going to go 28-20. But no, I think that Bridges could play the 5. I think maybe I'm going to do 24-20. That might be way too low on Jalen Smith, but he played 16. If I give him those 3 minutes back, that's 19 and a half. Yeah, I think I'm fine with this. I don't know if he has to close. Otherwise, I think the rest of this rotation is just done. Like we know what these guys are doing now. Everybody else is easy. I got 32 minutes for Cam Johnson. That seems fine. I got 33 minutes for Chris Paul. That seems fine. Booker in for 34. Could be light. I'm gonna take Booker up to 35. I don't want to go higher than 33 on Paul. Bridges in for 33. Feels about right. Shamit's playing. Oh, no, Shamit didn't play. Is he in? No, Shamit's got COVID. Okay. That I need to make an adjustment for. Didn't realize I had him still in. So we can give more time to Ish Wainwright by a little bit. We've already got minutes in for Elfrid Payton. We've got Campaign in for 22. Who the hell else played? I guess that's what happens when Bridges plays 42. Oh, Justin Jackson is missing time. I didn't even know he was on the damn team. I have him on Boston. Let's go ahead and move him to Phoenix. Make this a little bit easier. Man, we're 4 games and we're still going an hour. We'll get Justin Jackson in for 8 minutes or so. I think so. I don't know what the hell to do with these final 10 minutes then. That's troublesome. I don't even know if they know what they did with those extra 10 minutes. Because I'm projecting Jalen Smith for more minutes. And I'm projecting him and Biyombo for the same amount of time. I guess I got to go to 34 on... Mikal Bridges? I don't really have any place to give these 9 minutes. When we're already at a 10-man rotation. You know, maybe we get Ish Wainwright to 12. Maybe we get Justin Jackson to 12. You know, maybe I Campaign can get to 20. Well, we do have no... That is the interesting piece. What do we do... Well, we didn't have Shamit last time, so we'll take Payne to 24 just in case. And that leaves me just one more, so I guess I'll give it to Wainwright and call it. Rates stay the same. So for the Clippers, Reggie Jackson, 5,700 on FanDuel, 6,100 on DraftKings. Jam him in. Terrence Mann, 5K on FanDuel, 4,900 in DraftKings. Jam him in. Marcus Morris on DK. Much better play than he is on FanDuel, or he's not a good play. Ibaka looks solid across both sites. Bledsoe looks okay-ish on FanDuel. Batum, if he plays on FanDuel, is 3,600. On Phoenix. Devin Booker, 8,700 on DK. Yup, one of the best plays of the day. Chris Paul looking good. 7,300 on DraftKings, one of the best plays of the day. Happy to get to Bridges. Cam Johnson. Jalen Smith still looks interesting. Campaign still looks interesting. Don't think that I'll really get to Biyombo. Let's run our crunches, everybody. We're here now. Made it to the end. All right, 173 viewers, 77 likes. We're at the part for crunches now, but I think we're dangerously close to not hitting that 100 mark. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. All righty, first one up. Fan Duel. Let's save this. All right, here we go. FanDuel. Morning, Butto. Is that real? That can't be real. Wow. So Ja Morant at 44.4 is the highest projected guy I have on this slate. That's ahead of Curry. That's ahead of Tatum. That's ahead of Devin Booker. It almost feels wrong. Like, to not have a guy projected for 50, what a hard slate. I don't know what this optimal is going to look like. I don't know who the pay-up options are. All right, optimal on FanDuel by 0.2 of a point. Chris Paul, Reggie Jackson, Devin Booker, Cade, Dylan Brooks, Alec Burks, Jaren Jackson, Serge, and Joval. Look at that balance. If you throw out Serge at 42, 5,700 to 8,800. 6K, 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 6K. Holy balanced, Batman. If you don't like that one and you want to drop down 0.2, you can swap Ibaka for Lyles and Burks for Mann, which I actually like. I don't know what these power rankings are going to look like because I think everybody's the same. This will tell you where the salary inconsistencies are. Yeah, this one's a weird one. All right, power rankings on FanDuel. Cade Cunningham, Jaren Jackson, Devin Booker, Trey Lyles, Reggie Jackson, Alec Burks, Chris Paul, Brandon Ingram, Dylan Brooks, if he's in, Terrence Mann, RJ Barrett. That's everybody 25% or higher, but it's pretty flat here. Like, Cade and Jaren Jackson, I might just have like a fantasy point too high, at which point this is just going to be real flat. Very, very, very difficult FanDuel slate right now. Let's look at DraftKings. Alrighty, DK. Devin Booker, highest projected guy at 47. Power rankings. Optimal lineup for DraftKings. This is by 0.4 of a point. Cam Payne, which I already don't like. Alec Burks, Dylan Brooks, Trey Lyles, Jaren Jackson, Chris Paul, Josh Hart, Devin Booker. Obviously super balanced. I don't like the Payne value piece. You can swap Cam Payne for Brandon Clark, which I guess are sort of like two similar plays. Should play like the same amount of minutes. You can do that and drop down 0.4 of a point. Let's look at power rankings. All right, here we go. Power rankings on DraftKings before we close this one out. Devin Booker, leader in the clubhouse, top of the heap here. Jaren Jackson, 2. Alec Burks, Reggie Jackson, Dylan Brooks, Chris Paul, Trey Lyles, Ja Morant, Terrence Mann. That's everybody north of 25%. And then the next pack of guys is all bunched together. Ooh, we are in for one here today. But 4-game slate. This one's kind of easy. We got to 100 likes, so you guys were just sitting on it there for a little bit. That'll do it. This is going to be... It's going to be a hard slate. I'm really curious to see what lineups look like once we run some crunches, but that's where we're at. That's where we're at, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thursday in the books. What do we have tomorrow? I think we have a 9-gamer. Let me double check it. Always good to know what we got going on the next day. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, 9 games tomorrow. So we'll close out the work week with a very strong process show. Thank you guys for being here. It's been good. I'm tired. I'm going to crank out these contenders videos, relax a little bit, do the strategy show with Adam, and then I'm going to go to sleep and grab a little bit of a midday nap. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Subscribe to the channel, notification bell, all that good stuff. Let me know in the comment section if there's anything else you ever want to see on these shows or on this show in particular. I'm really happy to do a little bit more or like look at things a little bit differently or do a little bit less of the rotations to dig into more something else? So if you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments. Good luck today, everybody. Win that money. Back again tomorrow. This is the process.